the capacity to withstand and recover from difficulties quickly, toughness. That is the general definition of resilience. I like to define it as being consistent in the face of difficulty, being consistent with the pursuit of your purpose, the pursuit of your vision, the pursuit of your goals in the face of difficulty. Today, we're going to talk to Chisom Ukachukwu about this subject of resilience. We're going to talk about it theoretically and practically in her own experience. She recently won the first prize in the ALX 9 mobile pitch competition. And she will tell us that story and the stories before that story and how it maps to this subject of resilience. Hang in there, share this with a friend, and I'll be back in a minute. So welcome back. And for those of you who are attempting to watch from Facebook, I don't know how you're going to get this, but we had a glitch on Facebook just now. So we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on YouTube, and we want you to just let your friends know about that. If you're joining us, use the comments section and introduce yourself. And we like to call it a pitch. We like to put 2 or 3 lines, tell us who you are, what you do. You never know who is watching. So I have with me Chisom Ukachukwu. Can you let us know who you are, what you do, and how far you've come? Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Africa. So my name is Chisom Ukachukwu, and I'm usually spoiled as how to introduce myself because of a lot of things I'm engaged in. So, but right now I've been able to streamline it to referring to myself as an entrepreneur who still wants to leave a mark in the career world. And what do I mean by that? So I run various businesses. I am the co-founder of EduBreed, a school management software. I'm also the founder of Kedikta Emporium that deals with sourcing as palm oil or whatever it is. You know, most stuffs that people request for, we help you source for them. And of course, I'm playing in the career field. I recently got certified as a Salesforce administrator, which is a field I want to build a career in. And of course, I'm also a media girl by training. So I'm just a woman of many hats. But of course, I refer to myself as a serial entrepreneur.
That is amazing. And you didn't tell us that you're doing all this while raising 3 children.
Yes.
All right, great. So you are a serial entrepreneur. You want to be an entrepreneur. You're doing that. You're building stuff, but you want to also make your mark in the workplace. And Chisom just told us that she has certified as a Salesforce administrator, aside from winning a pitch competition a few months, just about a month ago. Am I correct? Just about a month ago, thereabout, right? Not too far away.
Yeah.
Awesome. So everyone, I noticed when we published this invitation, so many Salesforce administrators, ALX people, professionals who are in your network wanted to be part of it. Everybody likes to be part of success. Everybody likes to identify with that 500,000 naira and all that you publish. But I want you to tell us about your first attempt at business. How did it play out? What did you learn from it? Share that with us.
Okay, so that's quite difficult to pinpoint because for as long as I remember, I've been business minded. And probably because I grew up with parents who were business people. So even in my mom's business then, I was more like her sales manager in quotes. So she would always leave me and I would make sales for her and all that. But I think when I started as in doing stuffs for myself was probably at 15 or 16 thereabout. And that was when I was working with MTN Nigeria shortly before going to the university. So then I was plying trade fair. I don't know, for those conversant with Lagos, I was plying trade fair a lot. So what I do then is I see some stuffs I like, so I feel people would be willing to pay for. So I get them and resell. So most times when people ask me where can I get this, my ultimate response is usually I can help you get it or I sell it. So what I do is I now help you source for it, add my own profits, and give to you. So that was it. But I think the very first attempt at business would be, as in when I say business, like using my own capital, because most times, most of my business, I use other people's money. What I mean by that is people pay for the product, I go and source it and take my profit. But the first time I actually invested my capital into a business was when I had my first baby. And there was a certain soap and cream I was using for him then. And everybody that saw him was always, oh, his skin is so beautiful. What soap and cream are you using? Oh, I would love to do this. I would love to do that. And that money I had to borrow from my dad. So I felt, okay, since everybody's always asking for this, it's possible there's a market for it. So let me try it. So I went to buy a carton of the soap and a carton of the cream. Well, to cut the long story short, I ended up using the whole carton because nobody ended up buying. And maybe that was when I actually learned my first business lesson that you don't, how do I put it? I'm looking for a better way to put it. Sometimes what you think the customer needs might not be exactly, so they were okay with admiring the product, but they just didn't want to, probably because they have one they already use and they feel is meeting their need, or so many other reasons. But then it taught me a lesson in dealing with customers, that you should really be sure before you actually invest so much of your money into a venture.
Awesome. That's amazing. So that means the fact that people like something does not mean they will put their money into it. So the lessons are popping up. If you're out there watching us, you want to put that lesson down. The fact that people like something, admire something, are enthused about something does not mean you have paying customers. Very important for small business, very important for big business. So I'm going to ask a trick question, and those of you in Nigeria will probably get the trick. What part of the country are you from, Chisom?
Okay, so I'm Imo State, Nigeria, and I was raised in Lagos, so I also kind of see myself as a Yoruba girl somehow.
Okay.
But I'm from Imo State, yeah. So I'm an
Great.
Igbo.
So
Yeah.
is it true that Igbos always find a way to do some to make business out of something?
Maybe, but then of course for every rule there are exceptions. Of course, there are some Igbo people that are not so freaked about money or business or whatever it is. But then when you check, a large majority of them actually are business minded. I don't know if I will owe that to upbringing or something, but for some reason you always find Igbos in the entrepreneurial space.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So it's not a stereotype. It's probably something we've observed, right? I'd like to thank Wahab for joining us. Wahab is saying hello from LinkedIn, and we appreciate you joining us. Elizabeth is saying hello from Lagos, Nigeria. She's joining us via YouTube, and she says that she's a tech VA. She helps career professionals and entrepreneurs handle digital marketing and administrative tasks so they can focus on the core aspects of their job. Thank you, Antonia, for joining us from Nigeria. Appreciate you so much. Share the link, invite someone to this conversation. All right, so that was the first attempt. Now, have you had an attempt at business that you've shared that I just had to finish using the box of cream? Have you had another more profound, unexpected experience with business that you want to share with us?
Okay, so very recently, I think I've tried to remember his name, but he's very popular in the entrepreneurial, Gary V or something. So he said something. He said entrepreneurship is about losing all the time and winning one time. And for me, that has actually been very true, because the truth is, entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. You understand? So it's something that is not like you win every day. It's not like one good thing about it is that when you finally do win, it kind of make up for all the losses. Sort of that is if you're able to finally pull through. But where the cross of the matter lies is in your ability to persevere through those tough times when they come, because they will eventually come. So let me use my palm oil business for example. I run that in partnership with my mom. And sometime last year, we had a very big blow, and that was because owing to my mom's health. So I had some orders I couldn't process because my mom, who sources my palm oil, wasn't at top health. And of course, that would be crazy trying to push her to do all those stuff
Yeah.
while she's not so healthy. So that kind of stalled my palm oil business and that. So that taught me that sometimes you lose some and you get some. So,
Mhm.
and entrepreneurship is it's not something, I read on LinkedIn recently, someone said the reason why he wants to be an entrepreneur is to be able to pay himself any amount. He doesn't want to be stereotyped to one salary from one boss and everything. And I laughed because if only he knew that entrepreneurship probably means that you may never get paid in the next 5-10 years. So I think I was reading about Amazon recently, and I discovered, was it for the first 13 years or something, they were not profitable. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like revenue was not coming in, but there was no profit. It was until like 2 years ago they started being profitable. And of course everybody knows Amazon as the big name now, but
Mhm.
there's the story behind the glory, of course. So if you ask them, so I'm sure a lot of people would not want that first 13 years. I hope I'm correct with the number of years, but a lot of people will not want that first 13 years, but they see the glamour and think that that's all entrepreneurship is all about. But it's way beyond that. Entrepreneurship is actually very hard work. And sometimes you just don't want to do that work. So sometimes I just prefer the comfort of salary. I know that somehow, I'm going to be paid. Luckily, I've had very good bosses who don't owe. So, but
Mm.
then for entrepreneurship, you have to, it's like you're in the middle of it. Your own personal funds have to even go into the business sometimes. So it's not like you're really making anything out of it. So that's
Awesome.
for entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think you just called up that dichotomy between the thinking of an employee and the thinking of an employer. The thinking of an employee is guaranteed, I'll get paid at the end of the month. The employer has to think of how to pay everybody else before getting
Yeah.
paid. And for those 13 years or whatever number of years that Amazon and any other company was not making profit, this means those who actually put money in the business, the shareholders, were not getting returns. That's what it actually means. So you are getting paid as an employee. Everybody is getting paid as an employee. Things are happening. There's glamour everywhere, but those who actually put in money into the business as capital do not get returns. And probably, if you watch the patterns of some of the businesses that came up in Nigeria, which failed after maybe 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you see the same pattern. Why would such big companies fail? No matter how much money you have in a business, it's only a matter of time. If the business is not working, if you've not strategized properly, if the market is not there, and so forth, it's only a matter of time before it fails. So having more money is not necessarily the answer, as against having something that really works. Thank you for bringing that up. So for those who are joining us online, please share where you're joining from. Do a short pitch, introduce yourself in the chat. I'll be happy to hear more from you. So Chisom, tell us, what lessons have you learned in terms of recovering from failure? And give examples to us of how long it took you to recover, to feel that I have recovered and I'm ready to try something else. Tell us about that.
Okay, so for how long? I think that's quite relative because different people and their different capacity and different adversity quotient. So it's dependent on the individual, the personality of the person. So I would always say failure is an asset, even though it doesn't mean
Your
that it is.
experience, what
Because
about in your case?
you said
In your case, tell us
yes.
about
Okay,
you.
so
Yeah.
for example, let me use Edu Brits brand story. So my husband, when I married him, was running a school, and despite the best efforts, despite all the money being pumped in, despite the initiatives that were being brought into the school and all that, against everything, the school finally we made the tough decision to close the school in July 2021. And that was a very devastating one, because when you have a picture, that 10-year plan, 20-year plan, and you have plans of what you want to do with this, and it fails. Do you understand? So there's this okay, so we just pushed. For me personally, Sha, I was like, okay, so that's that with the education sector. I'm so done with that and everything. So, but then I think I will also owe it to my husband, maybe because for some reason he's fascinated with tech. So he just asked him. So he just sat me down one day. He was like, so yes, this school failed, but is that all there is to it? I believe that sometimes when you go through some things in life, there's always a lesson in it. So it's your ability to learn from it and grow from it that now makes the difference. So he said, so what did we learn from this experience that we cannot apply to create a solution for others like ourselves, so that they avoid the pitfalls that we encountered in running the school? And that was how EduBreed was formed. And so far so good. Yeah, EduBreed is trying. It can be better, but it's fine. We're still here 6 months after launch. So yeah, so it's, I would say, failure. I wouldn't say take as much, because some people can sulk for the rest of their lives on failure. So I would have said take as much time as you need. But the thing is, take time to count your costs, as in count your loss rather. So what are the things? Because it's easy to fault every other external um situation or experiences that led to the failure. But very often, there are some internal issues that also contributed to that failure. And it's when you're able to take stock in retrospect and say, okay, so this is what led to it. This is where I fell short. This is what the external factors that affected this particular thing. You're able to grow from it and learn from it. So it's either you change direction, or you come again for the same thing. So in our own case, we didn't start another school. Maybe in future that might come up. We can't say. But for now, we're still in the education sector, but this time around in a different way, not running a school this time around. So failure is, if you have to re-strategize, you do that, but don't stay back. Like I always say, a failure isn't the one that failed. A failure is the one that stopped trying. So it's until
Wow.
you stop trying, that's when we can declare you a failure. But for as long as you keep trying, there is always every chance to succeed at it.
Awesome. Wow, that's amazing. You've said quite a few things there, and I'll acknowledge our audience in a few seconds. But it's amazing how you've talked about the fact that you could pivot from something that failed before to something that leverages on the lessons from that failure. And for you to pivot from it, you need to evaluate the failure, understand why it failed. Is it a gap in your own capacity, your competence? Is it an external factor that you have no control over, and so forth? Before you even say, I'm going to restructure what I'm trying to do and try to do it another way. That is absolutely amazing. Being able to evaluate, being able to pivot, being able to keep trying, because you said that failure is when you actually stop trying. But I'm going to ask you a question around that more deeply. But first of all, I want to acknowledge Wahab, who has introduced himself fully as that integrations specialist passionate about automation. That's a deep one. And amazing stuff is that he's also the lead at There Is a Naomi Foundation, which is an NGO bringing education to underprivileged communities. That's a partnership, that's a collaboration happening there, bringing education to underprivileged communities. Thank you, Wahab, for joining us. Thank you, Adam, for joining us from Los Angeles, California, passionate about generative AI and how to apply it to our daily lives. Amazing. Thank you for joining us all the way. Thank you, Elvis, for your thoughts. There needs to be a feasibility study with strategy to start a business. Very true. Very true. And you learn from it. You minimize your chances of failure by planning. And just like Chisom earlier gave the example of selling creams, without assessing the market, are these customers or are these admirers? So it's important that you make that that distinction. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let me ask a question about the term we are exploring, resilience. Now, it's great to say keep trying, but is there a point at which we need to look at ourselves and say, look, I have tried enough. This is not working. Let me just stop. How would you create a balance between that in that context where you say we can't just keep telling him to keep trying? That reminds me of that motivational speech, that dog that listened to a motivational speech and went to fight a tiger, right? So the reality is that there's no way it's going to win, but it was really motivated. So you may be telling people, keep trying, but is there a point at which you have to tell the person, no, 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 try something else, or stop trying, this is not for you? Tell us about that.
Okay, so resilience. So when we say keep trying, so I would say you need to, it still boils down to being honest with yourself, being able to study a lot of things. So we could have decided to keep trying with our school, but for some reason, I just knew that probably that would have eventually led to a dead end and probably postponing the doomsday. That's what would have probably happened. But we knew at that point that the best thing for us, for our sanity, first of all, because it's like you're pouring water on rocks and
Yeah, welcome back. So we just
yeah,
had to take a quick break there
there
so
was a
that to take care of the break. Okay. So you were talking about resilience. That was one of the
yeah.
words you mentioned.
Doesn't mean that you keep trying something. You've tried something for 10 years, a particular thing. You understand? You keep trying it for 10 years and you see you've not made, and you've tried every possible strategy there is to it, and you see it's not working. Then it might be time to shift focus to another thing. It doesn't mean that you stopped being resilient. It only means you're diverting your resilience to something else. So that's what it means. So resilience is not that you die on a particular course that you know that is not leading you anywhere. Resilience is your ability to keep pursuing whatever it is you're pursuing. It might not be, you might have to re-strategize, probably change direction or something, but the essence is to keep going. But then as you're going, be sure you're going in the right direction. It's not enough to just move, it's enough to make movements in the right direction.
Awesome. So you have a vision and you have an attitude. You have a vision and you have the right attitude. The attitude that says, I'm going to fulfill my vision. I may have to find alternative ways. I may have to surmount difficulties that are outside my immediate control. I may have to learn new skills, but I'm focused on that long-term vision, right? So that's absolutely amazing. Thank you, Dixon, for joining us from Ota, Ogun State, Nigeria. You're an educationalist in the science department. He's also a marketing entrepreneur, learning more and wanting to know more. Thank you so much. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your comments. Great time so far. Keep the entrepreneurial spirit, but work what works. I like that, right? What works? Yeah. So being able to work on something for a while, you're able to assess: is it working? Am I doing it right? Am I going through? It's not bravado. It's being strategic, being able to pivot when you need to. Right. Thank you very much for that insightful one. So Nigeria's economic difficulties have impacted entrepreneurs in so many ways. Yesterday, we were having a conversation in the strategy club. One of the members mentioned the fact that he purchased his goods. I believe that was buckets of buckets of gari and all that. He sold them, made about 900 or close to 1,000, went back to the market to buy another set, and the cost of a new batch, a new consignment, so to speak, would be far more than his profits. So he basically did not know that the prices had changed significantly over just 2 weeks, right? And you have all sorts of stuff happening. Now, I know you did a palm oil business, after for some time. Now, can you tell us how the economy, aside from the issue with your mom, how did the economy of Nigeria, the exchange rates, the difficulties of inflation, how did it impact that business, and how did you handle it?
Okay, so for my palm oil business, anyways, I'm still in the palm oil business, but
Yeah.
probably not just pushy about it. We're back in business, so but one thing I think, right from time, my palm oil, I'm usually in touch with my mom. So before I give out price to a customer, I make sure I find out what is the current price from the mill. That helps me to determine my price. But when it comes to the economic realities and all, one of the major area where it has affected my palm oil business is in the logistics. So, for example, I used to pay like 2,000 naira for weigh bill per gallon. Now it's about times three, that's about 6,000 thereabouts, depending. Some will see 8,000 and all that. And the truth is that, as much as it's affecting every one of us, for you to remain in business, you have to adjust your pricing to suit the current realities, except you just want to run yourself out of business. So that's why it's very important to also keep in touch with whoever your supplier is, and keep in touch with current market trends. So you don't do business in isolation. So that's why you go to all these Igbo people market and everything. You see them next shop, they are selling the same thing, but they are synergizing. This person will find out from this person, have you gone to market recently? What's the current price and all that? So you can't really do business in isolation. You need a community of people that you can collaborate with. People that are in the same business. Yes, they might be your competitor, but at the same time, they could just be your saving grace in business. So once you're in touch with them, you're able to. There are times where I'm on or something, and I need to conclude a business transaction urgently. What I do is I walk into the market and pretend to be a buyer and ask how much is the current price of palm oil. That actually helps me now fix my price, and I know, okay, so since they are selling for this, so I should be able to sell for that amount and all that. So that helps me a lot. So I rarely give out price for my palm oil without finding out what the current reality is in relation to price, because when it comes to pricing, really, palm oil is one of those very unstable things. Like February, March is like very cheap. By November, December is almost like times three of the price. So you just have to know, and also knowing the timing of your business. So there are some business that deal with seasons. So once you know that, so for palm oil, for example, because it's cheaper around February, March, and maybe April, a lot of people now buy and reserve to sell much later, November, December, when the prices have skyrocketed. For some people, they don't do the whole sell in 5 liters. That's their own business model. They just do the reservation thing and sell when it's higher. So it's just a case of be updated with current market trends so that you don't run yourself out of business.
Awesome. And you said something that you didn't say. You've said the realities are affecting everyone, right? No one is like isolated, and the government is just targeting you. Once you begin to have that attitude that everything is against me, right? That becomes a problem. Everything cannot be against you. So you said we have to be creative in responding to the realities of our environment. We have to be creative. We have to be collaborative with those who are in the same business. We have to be curious. We have to ask questions. What's really happening? And we have to be creative, right? Collaborate, be creative, and be curious. Don't just isolate yourself and assume that the whole world is against you. Resilience means staying positive, removing the complaints and embracing, a positive response to the issues that are at hand. So I want to talk to you, flip on another side, but I want to first of all acknowledge Uche, who said, be focused on your goals, but dynamic about the how. So much wisdom happening here today. Be focused on your goals, but dynamic about the how. Thank you for that. And Elvis had earlier said, Keep the entrepreneurial spirit, the hustle, but work what works. It's not bravado. Just be strategic. So we also happen to know that you went through a Salesforce administrator program, and you did it at the attempt. Your success was at the third attempt. Am I correct?
Okay, no, that's for Mckinzie Forward program.
Aha, yeah, that was the forward program. Yes. Tell us about that. Why did you think you needed this so bad, in quotes, that you needed to try again? What were the scenarios around, embracing that program? Why is it important? Because maybe someone wants to know, why is the Mckinzie Forward program important? Why is the Salesforce important? Why do we have to certify in those things? And then tell us why you wanted to try again and again for the Mckinzie Forward program. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first time I took Mckinzie Forward program, I think I took it with Elizabeth. I'm not so sure. So, but then we were working together. So, but for some reason, I was unable to finish up. I was just, well, I would say maybe I didn't really keep up with the timing, because in all fairness, it's not like the Mckinzie Forward program is so intense that you won't be able to squeeze out time. But probably I would pin that to a poor time management or something at that point in time. But then I felt, well, why try anymore? So the second time was out of okay. But then I've realized something. They say when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So when you don't know the purpose of a thing, it's easy for you to just say, okay, it's just like you're going through the motion. There is no purpose. There is no reason why you're doing it. So the third time I would say I did it with reason. And why is because during our ALS program, the first 3 months, we did what was called the ALS Foundations. And we went through a whole lot of stuff and exposure to a whole lot of topics. And that was when I saw the Mckinzie problem-solving framework. And it was broken down in such a way that I understood why I now needed to take the forward program. And as an entrepreneur, I'm always solving problems. I'm always looking for ways to solve problems, and which is one of the bedrock of what the forward program is all about: problem solving, communicating for impact, and all that. So as an entrepreneur this time around, I saw that it was something I needed, even in career. Of course, as an employee, you'll be expected to do some problem solvings and all that. So let's just say the third time I saw the need for it. It wasn't just a routine for me anymore. It wasn't just a case of let's just gather certificates and all that. So I would say purpose became obvious. So I had to follow it, and I'm glad I did that, because it's actually a very impactful program.
Awesome. So part of the problem some people may face is that they are not sure, or they don't know what they want and why they should have what they want. Basically, they basically don't know. They don't know what to even look for. Some people don't know what to even look for in terms of what will advance their lives. They are not asking the right question. They're not Googling the right things. Maybe they're Googling who won the Ballon d'Or. Not that it's not important. Who won the some music awards. But they're not Googling something about their lives. So they don't know about the Mckinzie program. They don't know about ALX. They don't know about opportunities to get funding. What would you say to people like in terms of discovering what to do next? Okay, I think we're having a little bit of a break while I am speaking. Thank you, Oluwatobi Akinwale. We interviewed her last week, for joining us. Toby Akins from Nigeria. Thank you, James Xanthios, all the way from Canada. Thank you for joining us today, meeting Chisom, probably for the first time. Thank you, Toby. She says, well done, ma'am. We'll just take a short break and we'll come back in a minute.
Dear emerging entrepreneurs, in a world where technology keeps advancing, new technologies keep emerging, trust me, you want to make sure that you know how to use digital tools that can help accelerate your business. And that is why I am inviting you to an event tomorrow called Simple Technology for Small Business. And the good part, this particular event is happening tomorrow, Nigerian time at 4 p.m. With me would be Kenneth Igiri and the Strategy Club. You want to learn how to use Canva to create appealing visuals that you could use to promote your business, that you could use to create your social media content. And the good part, this particular digital tool is free. So you can use Canva for free, but registration is not free. Just a little token, just a little token. All you need to do is use the link below to register for this event, and you will find yourself in the community. Happening tomorrow, April 7, 2024, Nigerian time is 4 p.m. Come learn how to use digital tools to accelerate your business. And one of those tools that we will be talking about tomorrow is Canva. Register now. Don't wait.
All right, that was Mary Ikwebo talking about last week's STSB, Simple Technology for Small Business event. We did have it last week. We have a recording, and graciously, Mary offered to do a follow-up session tomorrow at 3 p.m. GMT, at 6 p.m. GMT rather, and she's going to be talking to those who originally were at the first session or those who have acquired the recording, so that there'll be more practicals, follow-up sessions. So if you want to know more about that, Elizabeth will put the link of the WhatsApp group in the chat, and you can join us and go on this journey. On 28th of April, we're going to be talking about QuickBooks. Emmanuel Kramer will be sharing with us on QuickBooks. The same link, kennethigiri.com/STSB. Register and be there. This is a series of 6 modules on simple technology for small business that emerging entrepreneurs can use to accelerate their digital maturity. We've been talking to Chisom Ukachukwu, who won the ALX 9 mobile pitch competition, who is a Salesforce administrator, has gone through the Mckinzie Forward program, and is also a merchant of palm oil, a mother of 3 kids, and so forth. We've been talking to her about resilience, what it takes to stay consistent in the midst of difficulty. And the next question we were asking is, for some people, they don't even have a purpose. They don't even know their purpose. They don't know what to look for. So when you mentioned Mckinsey, ALX, foundation this, foundation that, they've never heard anything like that, because that's not the kind of thing they look for online. So we're asking Chisom, how would you advise such people?
Okay, so first of all, let me say it's okay not to have it all figured out, but it becomes a problem when it remains that way, because you should be in a constant pursuit to know what your purpose is and what it is you want to do with yourself. So for such people, I would say explore as much as you can. Explore as much as you can, because in exploring, you are not able to pick up on your strengths and say, okay, so these are the areas I can deal with, or these are the areas I can handle. So just try and explore. And of course, your association is very important, the people you associate with. So you need to be deliberate about the kind of people you associate with. And when you associate with such people, what exactly do you discuss? Is it when you come, you're talking about irrelevancies and all that? Do you even have discussions about yourself, how to further yourself? The thing is, I think one of the things that helped me when making decisions is, like, I ask myself, so yes, I understand for a fact that I won't remain this young, I won't remain this agile, I won't remain this. So age is going to come on eventually. We're going to age. And even if for some reason, some people don't even know when death will come knocking. So do you just want to walk through life and that is it? Nothing tangible to be remembered for. So just start from somewhere. You might not have it all figured out, but whatever it is you can do, you can start with that and pick it up from there. Before you know it, you're able to stumble on something. Like when we started initially, I was kind of Well, school owners are still. I've been there. Would they be willing to pay for this and all that and stuff like that? But I've come to realize that I've found out a purpose beyond the money that would come in. I found a value beyond money in every that I feel that is something that even if I retire tomorrow, I can continue doing that will bring me joy and still impact my community.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. The clarity of purpose is deeply impacted by the kind of people you're associating with. If you're associating with the right crowd, you have people who challenge you. And today, later on this evening at 7 p.m. GMT on Clubhouse, we're going to be talking about collaboration versus competition. And collaboration has a lot to do with forming the right relationship. And Chisom says, if we form the right relationships, we'll find people who can challenge us. If we think deeply about the course of our lives, where we are going, how much time we have or don't have, we'll be able to, make the right decisions, look for the right thing, because we fail to get the right answers if we're not even asking the right questions. If we are not asking, is there funding for me? We will not know what it takes to get that funding. If we're not asking, what do people want in the market, we will not know the right products to develop, and so forth. Clarity of purpose. Rita says clarity of purpose and give you a clap for that. Thank you so much. Elvis says break inertia and gather momentum. Dixon says, Chisom, you're just another entrepreneurs, great educators of our time. I know what he's trying to say. He says you're one of those who mentor entrepreneurs, and you're going there, mostly in the area of becoming good friends between consumers and producers in order to face reality. Awesome. So the relationship you form as an emerging entrepreneur with your potential customers and facing the reality of your environment in order to know how to create products that make sense to them. Thank you for sharing that. James says, hello, everyone. You are even reaching Canada. Yes, we are. And I'd like to speak to those who schooled with, I imagine there are a number of people who went through ALX with Chisom. A lot of them are watching us from LinkedIn. I would like you to acknowledge that. I'm going to ask Chisom, what do you think, how did you hear about ALX? And what do you think was the most powerful impact of ALX on your life through the period? Share that with us.
Okay, so first off, maybe this is where I give a shout out to Elizabeth, because when I said about association, I would say she has been one of the people, because for Mckinzie program, for ALS, for TSC, she has been in the middle of all this. It was through her I got to know about the three of them. And I would say for ALX, I'm drawn to results. Should I use that word? I don't know if that's the best word to use, but what I mean by that was that, so Elizabeth went through the ALS program, and I saw the growth she recorded. I saw the improvements. I saw the personal and professional development that came from that. And of course, it's good to imitate good things. So I also wanted that for myself. And also, what also prompted me to go for that was that I told myself, okay, so since you left school, you've been popping babies. So right now, it's time to get serious with your life and really start moving in the direction you want to move into. So when I came to ALX, I was like, okay, so let's just do the virtual assistant. Let's see where it goes from there. But by the time I came, they were no longer offering the virtual assistant course. So I went through the other courses. And in as much as I kind of have a phobia for tech. Like, when I mean tech, I'm techie, but you see, when it comes to all those coding, doing this one and doing that one, I have a personal bridge that I don't even want it to cross. So I saw a lot of the courses. I say tech courses. What do I even want to do with that one? But then Salesforce admin now stood out. As at that point, I didn't even know what Salesforce was all about. So I, of course, read up on it, and I found out that it's a customer relationship management platform. Oh, customer relationship. That's a field that I've always played in from my very first job at 15. I've always been in a customer facing position. So customer service is like my forte, sort of. So I felt, okay, so it's something I feel I can take on. So why not enroll for it? And luckily, it was a fully funded scholarship. And by the time I checked the value of the scholarship, I was like, who does that? So, of course, I had to get in. And I would say that ALX has been a huge blessing. As in, when I mean blessing, I came to learn Salesforce admin, but I got so many things. I can't even begin to count the relationships I built from ALX. I can't even begin to count entrepreneurship. I think EduBreed ALX also played a role in making EduBreed what it is now because of at some point I went through the Founders Academy, ALX Founders Academy, and there you're taught about a lot of things. So even in our foundation program, so ALX is just a whole lot. Like I would recommend ALX to anyone. In fact, I was fighting them recently. I said, why is the benchmark for age 18 years? It should be younger. Do you understand? So, but it's just a full package. So I'm very quick to recommend ALX to anyone around me because it's something that you will find value for your time. Because let's not even talk about money because you didn't pay for it. So value for your time. So although right now there are admin fees attached to some of the programs, like Salesforce admin now has an admin fee attached. So and that will also help me point out the fact that don't procrastinate anything. Procrastination is actually a killer because if I had procrastinated getting on the Salesforce admin program, the next set after us was no longer completely free. They were required to pay an admin fee. So I would have lost out on that opportunity. But here I am today, a certified Salesforce admin. Go through with the application. I know the application, if you're not someone, like I said, if you're not someone that knows why you're getting into it, you might get discouraged. You might feel, layers upon layers of things to answer and all those stuffs when applying. You might get discouraged. But then if you know what you're going after, then it shouldn't be an issue. So I would say ALX is a 10 over 10 for me.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Beautiful. So for those who are watching us, there are opportunities out there. And I often tell the story of Giz. I attended a program where Giz is also a development organization, and they were actually looking for women to put through a 2-year program. And you can imagine in a nation where poverty is rife, where people can't go to school, where people are hungry, we are looking for people to help. So it's amazing that we can be actually looking for people to help because these organizations don't want to just do handouts. They want to actually develop people in a sustainable fashion. So if you're stepping in to take advantage of an ALX or a Giz or any other platform, any other development foundation, any other support system, be ready to be changed, because the most important thing is to change you so that you can build a life that makes more meaning for yourself. So Chisom has given ALX a 10 over 10. It says, Elizabeth says, wow, 10 over 10. Chisom hardly gives a 10 over 10. Very impressive. That's a good one. So Alex, kudos to you. If any of you are there, so you should just advertise yourself. And while I'm saying that, if you joined us later in the program, feel free to write 2 or 3 sentences about what you do, who you are. And you never know who is watching. Advertise yourself so that more collaborations can happen. Yes, ALX is it. I'm going to ask you about one more platform you are on. And you've told us that you learned even more from ALX than you anticipated. And you married your capacity, your SWOT, with the course that you chose. And you also talked about the fact that you did not, you are thankful that you did not procrastinate, because things change. After a while, there's an admin fee. Maybe later there'll be something else. Because let me tell you a secret. Sometimes those who fund these development organizations from the background, the funding is only for a period of time. So after that period of time, they can no longer offer these courses for free. So if you see an opportunity, you need to really, really run after it and get it done. Rita Chukwu says, the best thing ALS taught me is consistency and the power of collaboration. Wouldn't have met an amazing leader as Chisom. Would encourage others to enroll for the program. The benefits are invaluable. Thank you for that. Yetunde says, amazing. Congratulations, Chisom. I'm happy you are living your dream. Thank you very much. Thank you, Yetunde. Thank you, everyone who is commenting. Share this with someone. Let somebody have some inspiration for their journey of life. That's the best gift you can give someone, something that pushes them to become a better brand of themselves. So I'm going to ask you one last question, Chisom, about the Strategy Club. Tell us about your journey into the Strategy Club and how it has contributed to your growth.
Okay, so again, Elizabeth introduced me to the Strategy Club, and
Everybody should be making
when
friends
I
with
joined,
Elizabeth, by the way. Go ahead.
yeah, Elizabeth, yeah, I enjoyed working with her as a colleague, and she's someone that is giving to personal growth. So yeah, thumbs up, Elizabeth. Okay, so the Strategy Club, for me, the Strategy Club, when I just joined because Elizabeth recommended it. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really have a full picture of what to expect when I was getting in. But the Strategy Club is, like I always say, is a gold mine, especially if you're an African entrepreneur. The Strategy Club is a total package. So yes, I I won the 500,000 naira in post. But the first place I ever won a pitch was at the Strategy Club. In fact, that was the first time I ever practiced a pitch. And that was where I even know what are the elements of a pitch, what is supposed to be included in a pitch, and all that. So that was where I even knew that as an African, that you should you can begin to think about your business beyond the shores of your country. And one thing our coach, Mr. Kenneth, will always say is that you, before thinking of exporting to Canada, America, and the rest of them, have you explored your other African countries? Have you tried to do business with other African countries? And I think that is a thing. That is a thing because you they say charity begins at home, right? So, and if we're talking about collaboration, then it should begin from home. We should begin to collaborate with. I shouldn't be looking for one Canadian somewhere when I have someone, a Ghanaian, I can collaborate with. When I have a Kenyan, a Liberian, and all those African countries, or an Egyptian or something that I can collaborate with. Why should I have to start? And when we synergize and pool resources together, we're penetrating those Western world we really want to penetrate becomes easier, because now it's a synergy of efforts, it's a synergy of it's a collaboration of other people. It becomes kind of easier. So yes, and thankfully we have people from all over the country in the Strategy Club. So it's another avenue to also network with fellow entrepreneurs. Like sometimes, for example, Birago, the first day I saw her job, I was like, wow, a woman did this, not just a woman, an African woman. I was so proud that day. So those are the kind of things we see in the Strategy Club. You see entrepreneurs like yourself, you see them producing things, you see, our daily discussions, the encouragement, the business ideas. I can't even begin to imagine so many things I've implemented in my business that I learned from the Strategy Club. So yes, the Strategy Club is a place every entrepreneur should be.
Wow, that's a lot. I'm sure we're getting 20 over 10 this time around. So that it's
Yes.
that was so much, and we thank you for that. We have 5 minutes to wrap up, and we've been talking to Chisom Ukachukwu about resilience, staying positive, staying consistent in the midst of difficulty. And just a few more comments that I'll read. Yetunde says, yeah, I love the Strategy Club. She also says, amazing. Congratulations, Chisom. I am happy you are living your dream. Elizabeth says, Elizabeth is blushing. Thank you, Chisom and Elvis. So that's Elizabeth. Make sure you connect with her on LinkedIn and let her help you get your personal development further ahead. All right. Elvis says, Elizabeth is very resourceful and well connected. Thank you for that validation. I won't tell you who Elvis is, but you probably figured that out already. All right, so we're going to wrap it up this evening. We've been talking about resilience, and Chisom has shared her story with us. Brian says TSC is the best platform. Thank you for that. We are blushing as well, like Elizabeth. Thank you for that. That's awesome. So we've learned a lot through the conversations. We've learned the three main businesses she's into and some of the ventures she's gone into. We've learned her story, around fighting through the walls, the brick wall she hit when doing the Mckinzie Forward program. She's talked about prevailing in many areas, Salesforce administrator, the pitch competition. And I think this is probably the first time I'm hearing the fact that she pitched for the first time at the Strategy Cup, actually. And that is impressive. So some of the small things we're doing, they are making ways for people in diverse areas. So I want to encourage those who are already part of the Strategy Club. We have about 123 people in our WhatsApp group. And this is a good opportunity for me to say this. Do not join WhatsApp groups and other groups and all sorts of programs simply because you want to make up a number. Identify your purpose and immerse yourself. Participate. Take advantage of what is there so that you can actually grow. I want to give thanks to those who have joined us online. So many people. I see Sam Tete here as well, who says awesome. I see PSP14. I do not know why that name is there, but he's joining us from YouTube. Toby is here. Brian is here. We featured Brian very recently on our LinkedIn platform. Elizabeth is here. Yetunde, Rita, Kane Day was here. Elvis, Dixon, James from Canada, Uche, and who else? Edem. I appreciate all of you, Nurian and so forth. All of you watching us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, thank you for being there. I do hope that it's been worth your time. And I'll just ask Chisom to one more, to in the next 30 seconds, share any final thoughts before we wrap up the conversation. You have the mic.
Okay, so in conclusion, I would just say that don't how would I put it? Don't let imposter syndrome draw you back. So I'm going to say that in relation to the pitch competition. I think that was the pitch competition I won is the second one that ALX and 9Mobile had done. So the very first time it came up, I don't know, I talked myself out of it. I was like, what are you going to go there to go and say? Do you understand? And actually, but I tuned in live when the pitch was going on. And by the time I heard the people talking, I was like, oh, you could have done this. You could have done this. So what were you so scared of? So I'll just tell you, when an opportunity presents itself, plunge head deep, as in go in first. Tell yourself that you can figure it out later, whatever it is. Because as that when I submitted, the speech practice I submitted wasn't what I eventually pitched with. I had to do some modifications and all that. But I knew I just wanted to get in to that pool first of all. At least let me get into the door. Then we'll figure out what to say when we get into the door. So once you see an opportunity, try as much as possible to maximize it. It might never come again. And even if it's going to come again, you don't know how long the cycle is going to take before it comes again. So do it and do it now. That should be your mantra. If you fail, it's fine. At least you attempted. You will learn from that. But just do it. What if you win? What if? All those plenty what ifs. Counter it with what if the other side. So I think that's just my final thought. It's easy to fall into imposter syndrome and tell yourself, oh, why do I deserve that? I'm not that good enough. I'm not that this thing. But then I had to recently start giving myself pep talk. I say, babe, you are always a shining light. There is nowhere you have stepped into that you don't leave your mark. So don't let anything hold you back. Do you understand? So learn to give yourself that kind of pep talk. Take advantage of every opportunity you get and make the best out of it. Of course, I'm rooting for you and I hope to see you at the top.
Thank you very much. A rousing round of applause. Please give us a hand clap in the audience, in the external audience. Thank you very much, Chisom. That was so powerful. Do not exclude yourself when you have not been excluded. Do not exclude yourself because of self-doubt, imposter syndrome. Somebody out there is looking for what you have. Make sure you give it to them. And that's how we wrap it up this evening. Thank you, Chisom, for being here. Thank you for watching We Need Africa. Subscribe to our channel, like our videos, watch our previous videos, and share with someone. Tonight on the Strategy Club, we're going to have a conversation around collaboration and competition. If you like, you can join us on Clubhouse. It's going to be amazing. That is when the conversation goes deep, goes ballistic, and goes so profound. If you'd like to join us, please do so. This evening, 7 p.m. GMT. I'd like to say goodbye and keep winning. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend.